Welcome back. What is this, MMA calculator?
I think it did Attic MMA.
Oh, MMA Attic. Get in our attic.
Welcome back. We're here with the full card predictions for UFC Fight Night, Louisville, Cannonier versus Imavov. This is a full fight card with 14 fights, so let's jump right into it. Starting off the early prelims, we have Rayan Dos Santos versus Pujo Tomar. This will be Tomar's first fight in the UFC, and we immediately notice that she is tiny. At only 5'1", she has fought at every weight class from atomweight to bantamweight. In her very first fight, she weighed in at 111 pounds against an opponent weighing 136 pounds. She proceeded to knock her out in 21 seconds. She is very scrappy and does not care about size or weight classes. We'd love to see her get a win, but the model has her as an underdog, so we won't be placing a wager on her this week. Next, we have Cody Stamann versus Taylor Lapilus. Cody is back at bantamweight after his last fight was a 140-pound catchweight. Lapilus is on his third fight back in the UFC. He previously went 3-1 during 2015 to 2016 in the UFC. The bookies and the model like Lapilus as the favorite. Stamann is a tough fighter, so hopefully we at least get a good battle from these two. Eduarda Moura versus Denise Gomes is the next fight. Moura seriously missed weight in her last fight, weighing in over 119 pounds. She is still undefeated and has only had a single fight go to decision. Denise Gomes is the much younger fighter, and she also has more experience at the highest level. The books are giving the undefeated Moura the edge with a minus 170 line, but the model prefers Gomes at minus 114. We are placing a wager on Gomes. Next up are two fighters from Tuesday Night Contender Series, John Castaneda versus Daniel Marcos. Castaneda also missed weight in his last fight. This fight comes down to the undefeated Marcos versus Castaneda, who has much more fight experience. The models and bookies like the unblemished record of Marcos, so that's where we'll be making our play. For the next fight on the prelims, we have two girls fighting to stay in the UFC. Andrea Lee is on a 4-fight losing streak, and Montana De La Rosa is on a 3-fight skid. The model sees this fight going the opposite way the books have it. That's enough for us to lay a wager on De La Rosa, and maybe we can bet Andrea Lee on the next PFL card. Brad Katona versus Jesse Butler is next. Butler has never competed at bantamweight. He was a featherweight who stepped in on short notice at lightweight against Jim Miller. He has been trying to get a featherweight fight, but they keep falling through. Maybe he's taking this fight just to stay active. He already looks so shredded at featherweight. How is the cut to 135 going to go? Maybe he makes it easily and bullies Katona. If that's the case, this is a big win at plus 450. But our model has Katona taking the victory, so we're not going to make a play on this one. After that, we have a battle of win streaks. Carlos Pratt's 8-fight win streak versus Charles Radke's 6-fight unbeaten run. Pratis has the edge in high-level fight experience and has gotten 72% of his victories by KO/TKO. Radke has only been finished one time, and it was all the way back in 2021. The model is showing this to be a close fight, but we still have the edge going to Pratis. Next up is Thiago Moises versus Ludovic Klein. Looking at the recent fight history of both fighters, Moises seems to have had the stronger schedule, but the books and the model have Klein as the favorite. We are betting with the model as we always do on this channel, but before we built this prediction model, we almost certainly would have bet on Moises. This is an interesting one. Let us know down in the comments which direction you're leaning. We have another case of win or leave the UFC with Punahel Soriano versus Miguel Baeza. All 4 of Soriano's career losses have come in his last 5 fights. Baez has the double whammy of a long layoff, only having 1 grappling match in the last 2 years, and being on a 3-fight skid. The model likes Soriano, so we're taking the action on the underdog. Moving on, we have Julian Marquez versus Zach Reese. Reese is still young in his career and doesn't have a ton of high-level experience, but he can lean on 4 of his 6 victories coming by KO/TKO. Marquez is coming off consecutive KO losses, but has taken a decent amount of time to recover. The model prefers youth over experience on this one, so we're making a play on Zach Reese. Next up will be Dustin Stolfus versus Bruno Fajeda. From our perspective, Stolfus just needs to survive the early swarm of Fajeda and put his cardio to the test in the later rounds. The model gives a slight edge to Stolfus, so that's where we'll be placing a wager. Raul Rosas Jr. was finally ungrounded, so the UFC rescheduled him against Ricky Turcios. Turcios is the much older fighter, but maybe Dillashaw's supplement lessons will pay off in a post-USADA UFC. Realistically, the books like Rosas, and the model likes him even more. We are placing our bet on Rosas. In the co-main event, we have Dustin Jacoby versus Dominic Reyes. After his dominant victory over John Jones, Reyes has gone on a 3-fight losing streak. We feel that Reyes would have the upper hand in any grappling exchanges, but we see this fight taking place mostly on the feet and ending in a knockout. Finally, the main event, Nasruddin Imavov versus Jared Cannonier. Cannonier is the old man in this fight, coming in 12 years older than Imavov. Taking a look at their recent fights, they have both been up against tough competition, including both suffering a loss to Sean Strickland. Luckily, the judges covered for Cannonier. This is a close fight at the books and an even closer fight in the model. The edge is going to Cannonier, so that's where we'll make our play. This is shaping up to be a good week. We have 9 wagers placed with 3 favorites and 6 underdogs. Our favorite bets are paying at an 80% rate, so we love to see those. We're risking 10.64 units for a potential return of 22.57 units. That would equal a solid profit of 11.93 units. That's going to be it for UFC Fight Night Louisville. Keep your eyes out for an extra video this week. We have been working up numbers for PFL Europe too, and have found several betting opportunities. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.